Hello, welcome to our Ability Skills Knowledge Fraternity. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining and stay with us till the end. Once again, I'm Arshia Kainat, host and CEO and Management Controller in Ability Skills Knowledge Fraternity. Firstly, I want to say about today's free webinar. Today's webinar is workable for those who lose their confidence, did not trust, and have suspect on oneself. I hope today's webinar will be effective who are struggling with own personality. Every day, some new participant joined with us. So I have to give little concept about ability, skills, knowledge fraternity. What is Ask Fraternity? Ask Fraternity stands for Ability, Skills, Knowledge Fraternity. It is an online platform which aims to enhance the skills of the youth living across the world. It promotes the talent of the humans and also provide earning platform. Ask Fraternity offers free international webinars, workshops, and paid short courses. Its origin is in Pakistan, founded by Dr. Aksar Rubani and Mr. Zain Khan as a vice president. Our collaborative partners are Go Study, Global Education from China, and Bright Vision Training Academy Center UK. Motto of Ask Fraternity: creating new leaders by nurturing and promoting the talent of common people is the main purpose of Ask Fraternity. It is sometimes choosing a different path from others doesn't mean losing yourself, it means knowing who are you. I am warmly welcoming you all. Today we are representing the webinar on proactive living young people to behavior change with speaker Dr. Emmanuel. So let's start our program. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Emmanuel. Hello, sir.
Hello, madam. Presenting on promoting active living in young people through behavior change. I would be highlighting on five key areas as our topic outline. First is the focus of physical activity and active living, which would entail brief overview of physical activity and behavior change. Benefits and active living. Secondly, physiotherapy inputs utilizing the trans-theoretical model. And lastly, we shall discuss on strategies or interventions to promote active living. Next, the focus of physical activity and active living. Now, physical activity levels in young adults are very low. And there was a study made by Health Education Board for Scotland that was in the year 1997, which showed that about 62% of 16 to 24 years old in Scotland were not achieving the minimum requirements of physical activity for health. And their minimum requirement achievement was defined as at least 3 times per week for 20 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity. Well, other studies has also revealed that a high proportion of young adults are sedentary or irregularly active than the one generation earlier, actively of which we will see in our subsequent slides. Now, the World Health Organization rates physical inactivity as one of the main causes of premature death in developed countries. And this has, in fact, implicated in the etiology of many chronic diseases, precisely non communicable diseases. When I say non communicable diseases, these entail only four conditions, which are cancer, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and obesity. Now, it is now appreciated that individuals face considerable barriers when changing complex behaviors, such as physical activity. Though in the earlier endeavors into the promotion of physical activity tended to be largely theoretical, the need for the interventions to be informed through appropriate theoretical underpinning and allow subsequent repetition has now been very, very essential. So this paradigm shift saw a subsequent authors focusing towards the understanding and determinants and correlates of physical activity. So in particular, psychosocial influences. So as such, theories of behavior change initially developed within the social psychology has now dominated literatures and books online. So what has become very apparent within the last decade is that changing behavior is a complex and multifaceted phenomenon which with in fact multiple levels of influences. That's in order to achieve enduring changes in behavior, multi-level intervention that focuses on targeting individuals, one, secondly, targeting social environment, thirdly, targeting physical environment, and lastly, policies has also been proposed. Now, as part of my introduction for today's session, the physical and mental health behavior of today's adolescent generation are determinants of growth and development, and now throughout their lifespan. So, the technological advancement of modern society has contributed to sedentary lifestyle, causing young people to have increased body weight and body mass index than one generation earlier. So, as I have elucidated earlier on, this has led to the development of major chronic diseases, which I said were cardiovascular diseases, cancer, obesity, and diabetes, which would be as a result of increased sedentary behavior and physical inactivity. Now, according to WHO, in the year 2007, globally, has rated physical inactivity as the fourth leading risk factor for mortality, causing about 3.2 to 5 million deaths annually. So the learning of healthy behavior habit is vital during the adolescent years as it will assist in carrying forward this healthy active behavior into adulthood. So this has a long way to go. It has to implement the usage of families, organizational leaders, relevant stakeholders, leaders in organizations, in schools, in institutions, and others. Okay, so now let's look at the family role in implementing or promoting physical activity and active living in young adults or in the younger population. So studies have found that lifestyle learned in childhood are much likelier to stay with a person into adulthood. This is what we usually term as neuroplasticity. Okay. So exercise, physical activity coupled with balanced diet provides the foundation for a healthy, active life. In fact, one of the most important things that parents can do is to encourage healthy habits in their children early in their life in order to foster a strong foundation for a lifetime of health. Now, let's look at what active living is. And when we say active living, we mean a way of life that integrates physical and recreational activity into your everyday routine to encourage a healthier life. So, below are some of the examples of physical activity that one can incorporate into his or her daily schedule in order to remain physically active. We have been active in outdoor parks, fitness centers, biking to work, walking to school, playing a recreational sports or games, active of activities of daily living, then plan exercises. Then I would also recommend using this picture. It has been inscribed on you have to sit less, you move more, and you be strong. Next is the WHO recommendation of physical activity. And it was recommended by WHO in the year 2020 that children and adolescents who were aged between years 5 and 7 to 17, including those persons living with disability, should do at least one of the following two. One, at least an average of 60 minutes per day of moderate to vigorous intensity, mostly aerobics, physical activity across the week, or vigorous intensity aerobic activities, as well as those that strengthen muscle, bones, should also be incorporated at least 3 days a week. Now, when I say aerobics, aerobics precisely means a form of physical activity that combines rhythmic bodily movements with stretching and strength training routines with the goal of improving all elements of fitness. Or other school of thought may also define aerobics as a cardiovascular exercise that gets your heart pumping, basically. Next, let's look at the benefits of physical activity in young people. Now we have physical benefits, then psychological or mental health benefits of staying physically active. Now, the physical benefit includes it helps develop healthy musculoskeletal tissues. It also helps develop a stronger, healthy cardiovascular system. It also helps develop a neuromuscular awareness, coordination, and movement control. It also helps maintain a healthy body weight. Now, as part of the psychological benefit, it may also improve mood swings and reduce symptoms of depression. Improve self-esteem, positive self-talk, self-confidence, self-expression, and it could also serve as a social development by servicing as a basis for social interaction. Next, as there are barriers to every activity, likewise there are facilitators to every activity. Now, there are several facilitators to physical activity and active living that can help overcome the perceived barriers as listed below. We have one, value aspect of physical activity such as walking, cycling, healing, having fun and enjoying oneself, belonging to a sports team, after school program leisure activities. You could also talk about opportunities for spending time with family and friends, choice of sporting opportunity, keeping fit in health clubs and in fun clubs could also help boost the physical activity energy level in oneself. Okay. Next, we talk about the trans-theoretical model. Now, as part of the focus of today's discussion, the trans-theoretical model has been described as an integrative and comprehensive model of behavior change that has drawn from all major theories of psychotherapy. In fact, this model was being propounded by Prochaska and De Clemente in the year 1983. So its original use was initially to research into negative addictive behaviors such as smoking, tobacco use, alcoholism, drug abuse. And the initial research explored how self changes made successful changes without professional intervention. So, this model has been used in numerous studies across 12 health behaviors and is cited as, in fact, one of the most important theoretical health promotion developments of the decade. So, the processes of change utilizing this trans-theoretical model involves understanding how individuals change their behavior. So they may include the cognitive aspect, the affective function, the evaluative, and behavioral strategies that individuals may have to use to modify problem behaviors. Okay, so let's take a critical notice of this that this model has a weakness. So both self-efficacy and decisional balance are the two components of this trans-theoretical model we are going to talk about in our subsequent slides. So this presentation focuses on the relationship between the processes and the stages of change. And so this element will not be discussed further. Okay. So as part of the trans-theoretical model, we have 5 stages of change. Now, the first stage talks about the pre-contemplation stage. So, in this pre-contemplation stage, individuals are not participating in any activity nor do they have any intention to change habits. So, what we usually advocate as health professionals, physiotherapy professionals, as we focus much on in motivational interviewing decisional balance or self-efficacy work through education. So in this first stage, the pre-contemplation stage, individuals are not actively participating in any physical activity. Neither do they have any intentional ability to change their mindset. They have not yet even decided to engage themselves in any physical activity. Then stage two, we have the contemplation stage. So individuals are still not active, but they are more aware of the benefits of their behavior and are beginning to think about change. Yes. So on the third stage, we have the preparation stage. So this stage involves irregular activity as the individual begins to prepare their lives for change within the next month. The individual has made a decisive decision to engage him or herself in a physical activity, but the action has not yet been started. Okay, so in the fourth stage is what we have on is the action stage. So once the individual are consistently active, they are said to be in the action stage. Once the individual starts to engage or indulge itself into physical activity, we classify that individual at the action stage. Okay, so it is at this point that the probability of relapse is highest, and therefore it's vitally important for individuals to take advantage of any opportunity to maintain their healthy behavior. As I said earlier on, this trans-theoretical model works on intentional change. It has to work on your own ability to decide to change. It does not work automatically. And so the last stage we talk about is the maintenance stage. And this stage is ultimately the main aim for this trans-theoretical model. So at this stage, this is ultimately the end of intervention. Individuals who at this stage must be consistently performing their individuals who are at this stage must be consistently performing their new behaviors for at least 6 months. So the stage of change is often described as a cyclical process as individual jumps from one stage to the other. So this final stage, which is the maintenance stage, incorporates a cyclical process, meaning it has to start from a pre-contemplation stage to the next contemplation stage, preparatory stage, action stage before it ends up at the maintenance stage. So this is a pictorial view or representation of the trans-theoretical model. Okay. So this is also a tabular form of the trans-theoretical model, and this has been discussed in details in each of the stage, what goes into each of the stages. Okay, so the slides will be made available after today's presentation, and you can just have a look at what each of these stages contain. Now, as part of our focus for today's presentation, we shall be focusing on physiotherapy input, on promoting physical activity and active living in young adults, utilizing the trans-theoretical model. Now, let's look at this quote from Oprah Winfrey. He said, "The greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude." Yes. So we are just a step away of changing our future. If we are able to change our attitude, our habits, our behavior, then we are good to go. All right. So physiotherapists have the knowledge and skills to design, plan, and implement interventions aimed at increasing levels of physical activity in young people. So physiotherapists, we stand in a good position to facilitate and guide active living behaviors in young people so that this behavior is maintained in adulthood. So we also advocate that these could also be best facilitated with the help of relevant stakeholders, policymakers, families, leaders in institutions, leaders in teams, in organizations, we also advocate that we professionals can't do it all. We need the assistance from all these sectors as a multifaceted joint health team to help to accomplish this task. So behavior change frameworks can be utilized for the large young population delivered in different community settings. So the trans-theoretical model, as I have already highlighted upon, it focuses on decision making of the individual and is a model of intentionality. I repeat, the trans-theoretical model is a model of intentional change. It's not a model of an automatic change. It's a model of deliberate intentional change. Okay. So, as I said earlier on, the model has a weakness. So, it operates on the assumption that people do not change behavior quickly and decisively, but occurs continuously through a cyclical process. As we talk, the cyclical process is based upon the amount of vigorous, moderate, or working activities performed within the last week. So, we shall practically demonstrate how this theoretical model can be used in our daily living of life. Okay, so by focusing on the individual factors and activities, that individual, the main aim is to encourage adolescents, not only adolescents, but young adults to stay in the maintenance phase of the trans-theoretical model of behavior change rather than regressing to other stages. Remember, we said in order for one to qualify to be in the maintenance phase is to perform a particular kind or type of physical activity for 6 months or more. So, educating parents can play a key role in helping their child become more physically active. So below are some of the suggestions we usually recommend for parents. One, we emphasize fun. Yes, you have to help your child as a parent to find a sport that the child really enjoys. So the more the child enjoys the activity, the more likely he or she would be to continue it. So you also has to get the entire family involved, and it's also a great way to spend time together. Remember, one of the benefits of psychological benefit of physical activity was to foster unity and socialization, social interaction. Okay, so you also choose an activity that is developmentally appropriate. For example, a 7 or 8 year old child is not ready for weightlifting. Yes, it's precisely its musculoskeletal system is not so matured in order to handle such vigorous, heavy, high intensity um, activities. Okay, or a 3 mile run by a 7 or 8 year old child. Yes, so you also you choose an activity that is highly favorable and appropriate for the child or for the young adult, which may include low intensity of soccer, cycling, riding, skating, or any of these recreational activities. Okay, so you also have to plan ahead. Make sure your child has a convenient time to play, a convenient time and place to exercise. Make sure you also incorporate in their schedules time for physical activities. Okay, so you also have to make sure you provide a safe environment, an environment that is free from distraction, that is really safe from hazards and from harmful or poisonous substances. Okay, yes. So next we talk about um, a pictorial view or representation of physiotherapy input in the trans-theoretical model. So let's take a critical look at the last box, which starts with the pre-contem- pre-contemplation stage. Now, um, with the pre-contemplation stage, we have total minutes of exercise in the last 7 days. We have stages of change in the trans-theoretical model. So taking a critical look at the um, pre-contemplation stage, we advocate that persons who are ready or who are already in the pre-contemplation stage should exercise not less than 150 minutes. Okay, you shouldn't exercise not less than 150 minutes, which is probably about 2.5 an hour. Okay, so what can exercise that will be for the whole of the week. Okay, persons who also find themselves in the contemplation stage as per the description you have already elucidated upon, you should be able to engage yourself in activity with minutes on about 150 to 420 minutes. Moderate walking exercises per week. So probably you can just try an hour every day, an hour every day for about 7 days. Okay. So at the preparatory stage, you could also engage yourself in 150 to 420 minutes moderate exercise. Remember the timeline or the difference between the contemplation stage and the preparatory stage is that at the contemplation stage, the person may necessarily not engage in any moderate activity, but strictly at the preparatory stage, one has to engage himself in a moderate exercise. A moderate exercise. So let's take a critical look and understand these two differences between preparatory stage and the contemplative stage. Now, action stage, you have to engage yourself in about 150 to 420 minutes vigorous or moderate exercise per week. Vigorous. So it has to be a high intensity exercise. Then the maintenance stage, you should be able to work out more than 420 minutes vigorous exercise per week. Okay. Now let's look at some of the strategies or interventions to promote active living. Now, physiotherapy, one of um, areas that physiotherapy usually um, champion or recommend or advocate for its clients in order to promote active living through physical activity is motivational interview. So it's a technique for helping people to change their desired behavior. So physiotherapists can use motivational interviewing to facilitate behavior change process by being empathetic, supportive, and administer counseling strategies that facilitate an increase in self-efficacy. And so this in turn may result in improved feelings of accomplishment. Okay. So we also have mobile apps which are readily available for free on any of these Android platforms or Apple Play Store, Google Play Store. You can just go and download them for free. These are also helpful in monitoring one physical activity for a week or for the day or probably for the month or for the year. So below are some of the examples that you can find at Google Play Store or these platforms. I mean social media platforms. Okay. Now, as I jump into conclusion, there are
Hello, sir.
hello, hello,
Sir, your voice is not clear.
hello. Come again.
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Okay, sorry. Please, is it clear
Okay.
now?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so sorry about that. Now, as I drop into conclusion, I would recommend that we take a careful look at these 2 points, which could be a summary for today's presentation. And the first point highlights that the increase of habitual sedentary behavior and physical inactivity within the young population is a major contributor to the development of chronic health conditions and increased mortality rates in later life. Yes, this has been highlighted over and over again. So we highly recommend and advocate that we all have a role to play, from families, from organizations, from institutions, from companies, wheresoever social setting we find ourselves. We should make sure that we are able to promote an active lifestyle in the young population. This could come a long way to reduce these chronic health conditions that we have initially talked about. And as these chronic health conditions are reduced, we tend to decrease mortality rate later in life. Okay, so the second point says promoting an active lifestyle in a young population could reduce this risks and assist in carrying healthy behaviors into adulthood. So physiotherapy professionals are ideally placed to play a crucial proactive role in promoting and facilitating active lifestyle in the young population. So let's have ourselves familiarized with this great quote from this great philosopher Plato. He said, "Lack of activity destroys the good condition of every human being, while movement and methodical physical exercise save it and preserve it." Okay, so um, below are some of the take-home messages that I would like each and every knowledge seeker or participant available to familiarize themselves with. We have one: if you can't change it, change your attitude. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Because changing the way you look at things automatically will change the way things look at you. Okay. Yes. So you also have to remember change is always painful, but nothing is as painful as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong. And those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Okay. So in order for you to change your mind, you have to sow a thought and reap an act. You sow an act and you reap a habit. You sow a habit and you reap a character. You sow a character and you reap a destiny. As I always say, your deficiency needs efficiency through habits, attitudes, and behavior change. So behavior change coupled with physical activity is freely available. You don't really need to pay for it, yet it comes with plenteous of plethora of health benefits. Okay, so below are some of the references that I centered my studies and presentations around. Okay, thank you very much. I am Emmanuel, a physiotherapy professional from Ghana. Thank you.
That's amazing. Now, if you have any question regarding about this topic, then please type your question on comment section. Members, if you have any question regarding about this topic, then please type your question on comment section.
All right. So I'm receiving a question from Dr. Kale. He said, "What is benefit of physical therapy?" That is a well said, a nice question. Now, when you talk about physical therapy is a non-invasive technique that we utilize in treating clients presenting with musculoskeletal, neurological conditions. So basically, we don't utilize drugs. So we utilize physical means such as exercises. We utilize electrotherapy modalities such as electrotherapy, hydrotherapy in treating clients presenting with musculoskeletal disorders or neurological disorders. For instance, handling conditions in cardiovascular diseases such as strokes, handling neurological diseases such as sciatica or low back pain. So physiotherapy has a long way in handling or putting patient back to function. So the main goal of physiotherapy is to restore function to its clients. Thank you. Okay, this question is also from the same Dr. Khaled. It said, how do improvement memory? Please, the question is not clear. I'm not getting the question. It said, how do improvement memory? So, can you reframe the question and come back? It's not clear. Sorry about that. Yes, there is this another question from Nayab. Yes, he said how anger issues can be dealt. So, if I understand you clearly, say, how can anger issues be dealt with? As I have already elaborated upon, anger issues precisely has to do with the psychological moods. Okay, so in order to, as we said earlier on, utilizing this trans-theoretical model, it requires you the individual, energy from you the individual. And so in order for you to be physically or stay physically active, you with using anger and anxiety, depression, and all other mental health issues, this trans-theoretical model is a weakness to all those mental disorders. Okay, so it involves a decision or an intention or a deliberate mindset to change or recover from all those mental disorder in before you can engage yourself in any of these physical activities if you are to utilize the trans-theoretical model. Okay, yes. Hello, yes, this question is from Adil Hussein. Yes, he said right now everyone is engulfed with mental trauma. What are the coping strategies for resolving this issue? Now, okay, this question is beyond um, today's discussion, but let me answer this question. You know, in physiotherapy, we have what we call relaxational exercises. Okay, relaxational exercises, or we have what we call yoga. Probably, yes, yoga or relaxation exercise or deep breathing exercises. So, what we usually recommend for clients presenting with mental disorder or traumatized psychological issues is that we engage them in meditational or relaxational techniques, which may include deep diaphragmatic breathing exercises. We could also um, engage them in some sessions of yoga, and mostly we usually get positive feedbacks from our clients. So basically, it's beyond today's discussion, but precisely you can utilize these relaxational techniques. It's something that will work very well for you, for me, clients or patients or individuals with mental trauma. Okay, yes. Yes, Dr. Caleb, we said how do improvement memory? I said earlier on the question isn't clear, so if you can reframe the question for me once again. Thank you. Yes, he said this one is from Balabadan. Yes, sorry if I don't mention the name well. He said, what is the connection of physical and behavioral therapy to our body? Now, there is this theory which was propounded by Sigmund Freud, a mental health analyst, and he said the body and the mind is linked together. Okay, and so whatsoever affects the mind equally has a positive influence in our body, and so our attitude, our habits, our behavior, whatsoever that we are into physical activity has a positive influence automatically on our mind. Okay, yes. So, next question. Yes, is that can walking cycling helps change our behavior? Behavioral change has a link with the mind or the cognitive function. Okay, and so whatsoever, as I've elucidated on the previous question that came, that the body and the mind is linked together, and so whatsoever affects the mind equally has a positive influence on the body. So engaging yourself in physical activities will have a positive adverse effect on our behavior or on our cognitive function. Thank you. Okay, this is from Asba. He said these are all behavior activation activities which can be done when you are in depression. Please, the question is not well understandable. He said these are all behavior activation activities which can be done when. So I don't know whether you are asking, can all these behavior activation activities be done when you are in depression? Yes or no? You can. Sorry, let me finish answer the previous question. You can precisely perform any of these activities when you are traumatized or psychologically traumatized. You can initially perform this relaxation exercise I talked about, but that one is beyond today's discussion. So you can, engage yourself in these relaxation exercises, okay, or these yogas in order to relieve yourself, or these meditations, deep mantra meditations to release yourself from depression. Then once you are off from the depression, you are good to go to perform any of the physical activities. Okay. Okay, you said this is from side. He said how young generation. He said if the question says so, how can young generation make right decision with these strategies? I said it is these strategies are not automatic. You have to make a deliberate decision, as you saw on the slides. This model is a model of an intentional change. We talked about that. So it has to. It's not a model of an automatic change. So you, the individual, has to take a deliberate decision for you to engage yourself in any of these activities that we are talking about. It's not a model that will stimulate an automatic response from you. You have to make an intentional decision, okay? Yes. Oh, he said which exercise is better for frozen shoulders? Oh, that's very nice. But it's beyond today's discussion. But anyway, let me answer. Frozen shoulder is medically termed as shoulder or adhesive capsulitis, shoulder adhesive capsulitis. Okay, so it's basically inflammation of the capsules. So basically, you can engage in nautical heel exercises or range of motion exercises or what you call circumdactory exercises. Okay, so probably you can see your physiotherapist around, um, then you can just discuss what's happening to you. He or she will be able to help you. But basically, range of motion and strengthening exercises are the remedy or elixir to frozen shoulders. Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, this is from Rana. I say how to have self control in young generation. Is it well? So if I'm understanding, so is it how can you have self control in young generation? Okay, this question keeps on repeating, so let me emphasize it once and for all. I said this trans theoretical model has a weakness. So this weakness doesn't stimulate automatic response. Okay, it needs a deliberate decision from you, the individual. It's a model of an intentional change. So you have to sit and make up your mind that no. um, my physical activity threshold level is coming down. So I have to engage myself in more exercises or more aerobics or more physical activity. So you have to take a deliberate decision to cause a change. So this model doesn't usually cause an automatic change, something that you don't plan for. You have to sit and plan for it. Okay. Yes. Thank you. He said this is from the same Hussein. He said being psychotherapist. What is the first step necessary for giving the therapy? Okay, so psychotherapy. Please, the question isn't clear. So, is that being psychotherapist? What is the first step necessary for giving the therapy? So, what therapy are you talking about? Say, can you kindly reframe your question and come back and specify the kind of therapy you are talking about? Okay. Yes. Next. So I would like Mr. Hussein to clarify the point again. The kind of therapy you mean? I don't really get the kind of therapy you mean. We have a lot of therapies. Okay, so the which part of the psychotherapy are you talking about? Let me know. Wow. So why are you seeking therapy at this time? Probably nobody knows why Mr. Hussein was seeking therapy. But anyway, if he might come back with his question, I'm ever ready to answer him. So he should reframe his question and come back. Okay. Yeah. Yes, you can live better without therapy. Well, but the overall aim is we want to decrease this risk of chronic diseases we talk about, which were the diabetes, the cancer, um, the cardiovascular diseases, and obesity. You know, obesity has been one of the hunting health issues among this generation. Okay, so you can either decide to live a better life with or without it therapy depending on you. But I would, as a physiotherapy professional, recommend that you have to focus much on therapy than living a better life on maybe with diet or any other, um, strategies. Okay, so I would even with better balanced diet, we highly recommend that you have to engage yourself in a planned body therapy, okay, or bodily exercises. Precisely, you have been managing clients with type 2 diabetes, okay, and in this type 2 diabetes, the only elixir or only remedy that has been proven effective for the management of type 2 diabetes are exercises, physical activity, balanced diet, and medication. Okay, so you can not just do without therapy. There is the need for therapy. Okay, there is the need for therapy. Thank you. Hello, sir. This is from Bangash. So, are you having suicidal thoughts right now, or have you had suicidal thoughts within the past month? Please, the question is not clear. Are you asking, how does this question relate with today's discussion? Please, can you reframe back and come again with your question, please? Sorry about this. Okay, this is from MKD and says which exercises can change our physical behavior. There are numerous and plenty or plethora of exercises that you can engage yourself. Now, let me strike this clear difference. We have a clear, distinct difference between physical activity and exercise. Okay, today's topic was focused on physical activity. It could have equally centered around exercise, but this is I intentionally wanted to focus much on physical activity. No, when you say physical activity, any activity that we engage ourselves in could be termed as a physical activity. Walking, even performing activities of daily living, whether basic activities of daily living or instrumental activities of daily living like cooking, washing, cleaning, dancing, and even speaking or talking. It requires effort from muscles and cohesion in order for speech to very coherent. Okay, so all these activities that we engage or movement that we engage ourselves in all forms part of physical activities. So when you say which exercises, so this has brings us into specificity. So you are talking, you are requiring an answer of a specific kind of exercise to change or influence our um, physical behavior. We have plethora of exercises. Perhaps you can engage yourselves. Basically, what I would highly recommend is aerobic exercises. Basically, aerobic exercises. Remember, we talked about aerobic exercises as physical exercises that combines rhythmic bodily movement with stretching and strength training routines with the goal of improving all elements of fitness. Remember, we said that, okay? So, exercises, I would highly recommend aerobic exercises. Yes. So, aerobic exercises, any exercise that can keep your heart pumping, okay? So, it should be timely. The exercises should be smart. It should be specific. It should be measurable. It should be very attainable. It should be realistic and it should be timely, okay? Yes. Thank you.
That's amazing. We are obligate to you for your marvelous presentation and giving us your precious time. This session will be effective for our audience because you shared your intelligible knowledge with us. Dear knowledge seekers, I would love to thank you all from my deep heart for attending today's session. Hopefully, you learned something new and you will implement in your life. Please spread the information with your beautiful friends. Knowledge seekers, you will get free certificate after 2 to 3 days. So please submit attendance form accurately and add your remarks related to this webinar in comment section or attendance form. All members will get certificate via Drive link and link will share in our official Ask Webinars WhatsApp groups. We hope to see you all again next webinar. Thank you so much. Stay happy, stay safe.